Alrighty, this is Patricia and I'm traveling for history. I'm in Stratford, Vermont today, and this is the Justin Morrill Homestead's barns. The barns. Each barn was planned for a different farm activity and was connected by the farm road. Separating the buildings rather than connecting them reflected the influence of English landscape designers of the time. The smells of the livestock stayed distant from the main house, but farmhands could easily transport manure from the barns to the gardens and hothouse. The horse barn was built soon after 1851 and originally located down the hill, but was moved to its present location in 1901 by Morrill's son, James. Morrill used horses for plowing, haying, and driving. This building is a carriage barn. That's the cow barn. Don't know yet where the horse barn is. So the carriage barn is right here, to my left. The carriage barn was added in 1901 to the front of the horse barn, to store the family's carriages. It now contains interpretive exhibits from Justin S. Morrill and his accomplishments. The cow barn, this one right in front of us, across the farm road, was home to a few cows kept to provide the estate with milk and cream for butter. Chutes carried hay from the upper level directly to the stalls. The cupola on the roof provided ventilation. The sheep barn was used by Morrill to raise sheep for meat and wool. The large open bay provided shelter for the sheep in bad weather. The enclosed section held equipment, and the space above stored the shorn fleeces. The corn crib is a small building of vertical slat construction where Morrill stored hand-shucked field corn for feeding the livestock during the winter. The farm shop held a blacksmith's forge. The bellows are still there, where farmhands shaped horseshoes and repaired tools. All right, so we are here. Carriage barn, which is right there. Horse barn is connected on the back, which is that right there. Corn crib is behind it, and the farm shop's all the way to the back. And then here we have the cow barn, and behind that is the sheep barn. All right, so let's go inside and see what the exhibits look like in here. How many of us have seen barns with this entrance? I know I've seen quite a few, particularly I think specifically of the Lincoln Historical Society's barn. They call it the Old English Barn. They're filled with every tool imaginable and carriage equipment and whatnot. It's a really fascinating place. I'll put a link in the description below so you can enjoy it as well. Now, Justin Morrill finished 1 year of high school. That's as far as his education, his school education went. But he was very learned and read constantly. He had over 2,000 books in his private library. My bet is he read every one of them. Now, for those of us who've lived in Burlington, Morrill Hall, University of Vermont, named for Justin Morrill, because he was the man who wrote the Land Grant Act, which provided land for for colleges and universities to have land. That's his mausoleum, which is nearby. Stratford, the town of Stratford. Justin Morrill's father was a blacksmith. Justin Morrill spent 44 years serving in the both the House and then in the Senate in Washington, D.C. In fact, he was still serving at the age of 88 when he died. Until Senator Patrick Leahy recently retired, Morrill had served the longest term of anyone, but Patrick Leahy served 45 years to Morrill's 44. This is Senator Edmonds. I have filmed his state historic marker. It's in a different county. It's north of here. For those who may have heard of Edmonds Junior High School or Edmonds Middle School, as it's named today, in Burlington, it's named for him because that was his home, the property there. Where was B building when I was a student at Edmonds, but where B building was his actual home. His home was torn down. He was hoping to have that as used as the principal's house, but no. Look at the white planking in this room, in this barn rather. And it's sloping right to the center. Feel free to pause and read any of these things you would like to read. As you probably have noticed, my voice is going. I've been filming a lot the last couple of days. If you watch the interior of the Justin Morrill homestead video, you'll recognize this was his home in Washington, D.C. His home in Stratford was a summer home, and this was his summer residence. This is a photograph of the interior of his Washington home. His nephews ultimately inherited this property and the Washington residence. So they decided to sell the Washington residence and move a variety of furniture pieces and artwork to the homestead here. Beautiful stuff. This is a hat tree. Umbrella stand here. Imagine you could hang, well, I don't know if you were going to hang coats from there, but it's definitely a hat tree. Justin Morrill would add to his library whenever he could afford to. This is just, these are not real books. You probably knew that. So this is something that Justin Smith Morrill said, quote, when but a boy clerk in the store of this village, I started in 1827 a subscription for a town library with shares at $2 each. Imagine how long it took him to save up for that, unquote. And this is a letter from Morrill to Honorable James Barrett, Quote, of course I began to buy books as soon as I was able to pay for them, and has taken a long time and much labor to obtain whatever has been of real value to me in the way of such an education as I happen to have, unquote. And this is published in the Vermonter in November 1896. That is Justin Morrill, his wife Ruthie, their son James, and I think this is Aunt Louise. The dog is named Trump. You can see some knob and tube wiring up there. If that's in your house, get rid of it. Beautiful furniture. I don't know how comfortable that would be to sit in, but it is beautiful to look at. And there he is again. He had retired initially to become a gentleman farmer. And then after 3-4 years, it wasn't very long, that's when he entered politics. He was about 44 when he started. And then up here, I saw another exhibit we could visit. Because as long as we're here, we may as well, right? Interesting. Oh, that's right. This part is the horse barn. Imagine the hay was put in there for the horses to eat, and that's a water basin for them. Let's go get a closer look. Oh, they're going to leave us unsupervised. Oh yeah, and then of course you tether the horse to this right here. So it makes sense. Yay for lights. Very fancy though. I mean, look at that up there. Oh, it's a sleigh. I was wondering what this was. I initially thought it was some sort of treadmill piece because of that right there, that wheel. But those are just the wagon wheels that would be on it. Otherwise, it's... So we're talking, the snow tires are on right now. Those are the summer tires, right? Yes, I am pleased with myself over that. This is a big stall. Maybe it's where they stored the hay. All right, well, this is Patricia, and I'm traveling for history. Well, thank you for coming along with me today as I'm visiting the Justin Morrill homestead And these buildings are on the property. By the way, did I mention why the buildings are painted pink? The barns are painted pink? It's because the house itself is painted pink to suggest cut sandstone. So the rest of the buildings, most of the rest of the buildings are painted in the same color scheme. But anyway, hope you had a great time. I know I have. And until I see you again, have a fabulous rest of your day. Thanks for watching. Bye now.